Welcome back to TechniqueWOD. Today we're going to talk about a jerk drill that can help you put more weight overhead and be more stable doing it, and that drill is called the jerk balance. Mike and his trusty sidekick Marty the Dolphin are going to show you what a jerk balance looks like. Oh.
Marty down!
All right, so you can see Mike's kind of in a halfway done split position where he's not into that full step yet, and then he's dipping and driving just like he would on a regular jerk or like he would on a snatch balance, and then he's stepping that front foot forward to get it all the way into that full finished split position with the bar all the way overhead. A lot of people, they don't step forward far enough, so maybe kick that bar out of the way and just give a quick demo with just your feet. Oh. Marty's down again. So they'll do a regular jerk and they won't step their front foot forward far enough. So see how Mike's front foot is very short strided. His shin is angled forward. That's not supposed to be there. So if you go ahead and go into a full dip, or excuse me, a full split rather, you can see when Mike's in a full split, he has a little bit of a negative shin angle. Maybe he could be all the way vertical, but he definitely wouldn't have his knee more forward than about there. If his knee's right out over his toe or even beyond his toe, he's not going to be nearly as strong in that position. So this right here is a good split. If his foot, again, is any shorter than that, go ahead and short stride it again.
Or you can just go straight knee back.
Yeah, either if he straightens his knee and his knee comes forward, or the original thing was short striding it, not stepping forward far enough. If you do that, you're just not simply going to be strong enough in that position anymore. So the jerk bounce specifically, there's many things that it does do, but one very specific thing is that for people that have a tendency to not step their front foot forward far enough, it helps them drill getting into that perfect step distance, if you want to say it like that. It helps them step their front foot forward as far as they need to be in the strongest position possible. So the other thing that helps with too is just all the other mechanics of a full solid split position. So if Mike jumps into a full split position again, you can see a good split position. Mike's back foot, he's on the ball of his foot, on his toes. His heel is not on the ground. Go ahead and put your heel down like that. A lot of times people's heels are on the ground and then their foot is kind of angled out like that, and that's not a very strong position to be in either. And to do that, oftentimes people have to straighten their back knee. So go and do it incorrectly. A lot of people have that straight back knee, and that again causes problems elsewhere as well. You can see his hips are rotated. A lot of people will hyperextend their back in that position too. It's a funky position to be in, and it's hard on your knee, it's hard on your back, and it's just not the strongest position that you possibly could be in either, because it's hard to get into a really low position like that as well without getting a super big stretch on your groin, which maybe you pull your groin in that position too. So a good solid position where that back foot, again, is on the ball of your foot. The back knee is bent. By having that back knee bent, it lets your hip be in a little bit more of a neutral position where you're not anteriorly tilted at your pelvis. If he straightens his knee, he kind of rolls his pelvis forward, and that means he has to hyperextend his back, and again, that's very hard on his back. So ball of the foot with his back foot, heels off the ground, back knee is bent a little bit. He has a neutral spinal position. Okay, he's not hyperextended, he's just normal neutral. Shoulders are fully flexed overhead, and then again that front knee is slightly right over the foot, or maybe right behind the foot where he has that bit of a negative shin angle, and the center of pressure is kind of on his heel or maybe even mid-foot on that front foot. Okay, so for the jerk bounce position, what he's trying to do is go from that short strided position into that perfect full split position with a little bit of a dip and putting the bar overhead. All right, one more reason that we use the jerk balance with our athletes is that some people aren't very stable in a position where their feet aren't side by side like they are on a jerk. On a jerk, if you're here and one foot is in front of the other, a lot of people aren't very stable with one foot out in front of the other. So in this kind of lunge or split stance position, that's not a very common position to train in most strength sports. It's not that common in weightlifting, it's not that common in powerlifting, it's not that common in most CrossFit gyms compared to the amount of deadlifts that you do, compared to the amount of snatches and cleans that you do, compared to the amount of squatting that you do. So for some people, they get the bar overhead with one foot in front of the other in that split jerk position, and they tend to drift one way or the other. They might be here and they might be floating this way, they might be spinning the other way, and they're trying to control the weight, And when the weight's really, really heavy, it's hard to control the weight in that position. So for those people, to help them train stability in that split stance position, we do a lot of jerk balances. So one more time, if Mike does a quick demo. It's not just with the bar overhead. Having a heavy weight on the bar in this kind of half split position, doing that dip and that drive, and then driving the weight overhead, and then freezing in position after stepping your front foot forward helps train that stability that I just mentioned. And then, of course, he can recover normal by stepping his front foot back and his back foot forward and then dropping the weight. So one of the key points here is that you're getting that dip and that drive in that split stance position here, which is not a normal thing to do. Normally you get that dip and that drive by having your feet side by side in whatever your jerk stance is. So you get a little bit more of a training effect because you're getting the dip and the drive without your feet side by side. And then again, just like you do on a regular jerk, you're trying to step your front foot forward and then freeze in position without having to chase the weight, without having that little bit of a spin where you're trying to control the weight after it's gotten out of control. You never want to get to the point where it's out of control. You just want to freeze in position, be solid, just like a gymnast would, where they kind of quote unquote stick the landing, and then you can recover like you're supposed to recover, front foot back, back foot forward, and then you can drop the weight. All right, a few more points on technique. If Mike takes the bar and gets set up again. Again, in this start position, he's going to have essentially the same points up performance that he would have if he was in a finished jerk, because he's already in mostly a split position. Aside from his front leg, which is going to fix as it comes forward, same thing. Bar's resting on his shoulders. His hands are at least close around the bar as much as he can. Elbows are high, that way the weight's sitting on that shelf. Ribs are down, that back knee is bent, which is actually helping him keep his ribs down. If that back knee gets straight, then oftentimes it'll pull people into hyperextension, kind of like that. His back leg, his foot rather, is on his toe, heels up off the ground. His foot's not rotated, and or his heel is not on the ground, which is really common. Go ahead and put your heel down and then rotate your heel to the inside. A lot of people land their jerks like that. That messes you up in a lot of ways and probably isn't good for your knee or your back as well.
Or anything.
Or anything, that's right. So heels off the ground, weight's on his toe, back knee is bent, ribs are down, and he's in a very strong, stable position. So he's going to do a very shallow dip and then drive the bar overhead just like he would do on a snatch balance. And then from here, you can see he steps his foot forward just a little bit. Now, the weight is mid-foot or on his heel. He has that negative shin angle, maybe vertical at most, but his knee definitely is not beyond his foot. And that makes it where he's very balanced over both feet. His hip is above parallel. He's not dipping too much. He's not too low. The lower he gets, the weaker he's going to get. So his thigh is going to be above parallel for sure. Elbows are locked overhead, arms are nice and vertical, full flexion at his shoulders. And again, his ribs are still down. He's not bent at the shoulder and hyperextending and pushing his hip forward like he just demoed. That was a long time to stay in that position.
Yes, it was. I'm like, oh, the legs are shaking. I hope they can't see that on video.
The attack of the plastic dolphin, 2015.
But hey, Doug, when do we use these?
It's good acting. Very similar to the episode that we did on muscle snatches. There's 3 areas that you can use these. You can use these in your warm-ups. You can do them as a main lift if you want to, especially on a day that you want the weight to be a little bit lighter, and or you can do them as assistance work. So during a warm-up, you probably do it just like Mike was demoing. You just have a regular barbell, focusing on speed and precision, and really like sticking your landing where you're dipping and driving, you're freezing in that finished position, doing very perfect reps. That way, when you get to doing jerks during your workout, everything is very crisp and you're very activated, so to speak. You could do them as a full movement, kind of as a core movement on the day. Again, probably the best day to do that is a day that you're not trying to hit, a 1 rep max on your snatch or 1 rep max on your clean and jerk. It's not like a heavier, harder day. It's more of a lighter day where you're still training and you want to give 100% effort, but you would like the weight to be slightly lighter than it would if you were doing a full 1 rep max clean and jerk. By doing jerk balances, for 3 sets of 5, you're automatically going to be lifting a heck of a lot lighter than you would by doing 1 rep max clean and jerks, obviously. And then part 3 of this is you could do it as assistance work, where, very similar to what I just said, you're not doing it as a core movement, you're doing it after you do your heavy clean and jerks, after you do your heavy snatches, after you do your front squats, and maybe your snatch pulls or your clean pulls. And it's just a part of your assistance work, just like doing heavy pull-ups would be. So you do it towards the end of your workout as assistance work, just to get a little bit of extra overhead work under your belt for that day. Anything else to add to programming specifically?
You nailed it.
Nailed it. That's Nuggets and Pearls. We stole Chris's line.
I don't like this at all.
Nailed it.
All right, if you like this video, you can also go to barbellshrugged.com, click on the TechniqueWOD tab at the top of the page. We have more videos just like this in the library. Also, we have a free 50-some-odd page ebook that you can download at flightweightlifting.com. It has examples of programming for weightlifters. It has examples of frequently asked questions that we get from our weightlifters. It also has links to a 6-part video series that we have for snatches and for clean and jerks. So it's an awesome resource. Doesn't cost you anything, and you can get that at flightweightlifting.com. We'll see you another day.
Join the conversation every week after the episode over at barbellshrugged.com. This is also where you'll find new episodes of Barbell Shrugged, TechniqueWOD, Nuggets and Pearls, Barbell Business, Get Change, plus new articles every day on our daily blog, written by us, guests of the show, and some of the biggest names in strength and conditioning. So, go there and leave a comment now. Oh my gosh, wow, that's so cool. Yay, that's so awesome.
Did you like this video? If so, subscribe to our channel and share this with your friends.
And if you want even more free, awesome resources to help you reach your fitness goals, plus some updates that we only share over email, head over to barbellshrugged.com and sign up for the newsletter.